We're Robin and Steve. In the last episode, we island hopped from Mooloolaba through Moreton Bay. We wove our way between sandy islands toward the Gold Coast. And now we're in the floodwaters after that torrential rain, about to pass under a power cable. It's always weird going under a power cable, but there were lots of shallows around, and that was what we had to look out for. It's weird that these beautiful little mangrove islands are so close to the Gold Coast. And in these back channels to the Gold Coast, many boats have met their watery grave. We'd be hand steering here anyway, but the autopilot did need a few more electrical tweaks. So hand steering it was. Yet again we had to look out for flood debris. We were going to anchor near here to shelter from more storms, amongst the decadence that is the Gold Coast, with showy mansions on one side and a massive sandy island on the other. Soon we'd be exiting the Gold Coast Seaway, partly thanks to this. The sand bypass system jetty constantly pumps sand to prevent the natural northward drift of sand from the south, to assist with maintaining the navigation channel. Boats of all shapes and sizes use this seaway, and surfers battle the current and weave in and out of them to get to their favourite waves. Crazy! We were back on the surf coast with no reefs to buffer the swells that come from the sea. So we were glad for this artificial shelter as the storm was on its way. This rain catcher isn't fancy, but it does the job. Ah, the serenity. The thickening storms didn't put off the party boats around us, and we were all in the prime spot for a light show, both natural and man-made. As the fireworks wound up, the wind kicked in. There are always jobs to do while we wait for better weather to sail, like topping up our batteries with fresh water. And of course, dolphin watching. The weather looked okay, and we were going to have to sail overnight. We exited the Gold Coast Seaway without a problem, and watched the skyline bounce up and down with the swell. It was a nice day of sailing, and by my 3 a.m. shift, we were in New South Wales. I was welcomed into New South Wales by getting hit by this fish in the dark. I'm guessing we both got a surprise. I was so proud I showed it off again. I've never been hit by a fish before. That's the good thing about the 3 a.m. shift. There was more rain on the way. We entered what can be a bit of a dangerous bar crossing, a luca. And it was a bit intimidating seeing how small this gap in the breakwall was, but we made it in. During the time we were here, we saw a couple of families of dolphins. All kinds of animals, in fact. And it's a great place to walk, whether you choose beach or forest or pub. And soon we were to get hit by our worst storm yet. More about that later. Now enjoy the lightning. There's a thin sliver of rainforest along this coast. And thank goodness there is. We loved walking here. This is Yaegal country. It's an important women's place where women go worming and fishing. In the 1800s, the area was logged, and then in the 1900s, it was mined for sand. Now there is a small area that is protected. Some bird watching is bittersweet. For instance, this bird with its nest on a man-made pole. We had to get back to the boat. There were more storms on the way. The sky was putting on an incredible show. Thankfully, these incredible light shows were at a distance this time. The last storm had left us a bit shaken. We woke to lightning and crashing thunder, and I saw a mast speeding by. Then the anchor alarm went off. We were on the move. We were dragging and fast. Without even discussing it, we both threw on our wet weather gear. Steve went to the anchor, and I turned on the batteries and turned on the engine and started trying to steer us into the wind. But the wind was too strong, and I ended up having to reverse hard and fast to avoid hitting a vessel. Once we were in the clear, we wove ourselves into a different part of the harbour to put down the anchor, and were later told that we were in the notorious weed patch and are not the first boat to come a cropper there. Repairing the sail trim was a big job, as was the walk to get all our groceries. But look, pineapples and mangoes. Ah, heaven. Oh, then there was more wind. Quite a lot of it. But we just went walking in the rainforest, happy with our new anchorage. And were lucky enough to meet a lot of animals on our way to the beach. Clearly the sea had been whipped up into a froth from those storms. We'd not used our dinghy since leaving Scarborough, but the Clarence River is big and we wanted to see Yamba. Here it is. Maybe next time we'll get to use this walkway. Did you see it? It was a dolphin. There it is. Figured we'd better get some more rainforest time before we left. Time to stare at a giant goanna, a monitor lizard, and another blue tongue. And wildlife in the boat too. In the toilet actually, there was a fish. Bruschetta. We got bread and vegetables at Aluka and we were living it up. We set sail at sunrise, bound for Coffs Harbour, with a stop on the way. solitary islands are quite famous for their unique coral that grows thanks to the East Australian current. We had to hurry because another storm was on the way, but I was dead keen to get in there and meet the fish. The colours are quite different, much more green. Still beautiful. Join us next time as we get hit by another storm and then leave the coral behind, heading towards Sydney, where I get to hang out with Mum again.